All right, let's dive straight into the executive debrief for Operation Epic Fury. We're talking about a massive military campaign, and the numbers from just the first 100 hours are, well, they're absolutely staggering. So get this. In under 4 days, Allied forces hit nearly 2,000 separate targets, using over 2,000 munitions. That kind of operational tempo is just wild. But to really grasp what that means, you have to put it into context. And here's where it gets really eye-opening. According to U.S. Central Command, the very first 24 hours of this operation were double the scale of the famous shock and awe campaign that started the Iraq War back in 2003. That tells you everything you need to know about the intensity here. So what was the whole point of this massive air campaign? Well, it was laser-focused on one thing: completely dismantling Iran's ability to project power from the air. And the results, well, they kind of speak for themselves. The Pentagon's reporting that Iran's ability to launch ballistic missiles has been knocked down by 86%. 86! And their attack drone launches? Slashed by 73%. These aren't just nicks and scratches. We're talking about a massive blow to their core strike capabilities. So how did they pull this off? Well, a huge part of the story is American air power. You had B-2 Spirit bombers flying deep into enemy territory for those hard-to-reach targets, and B-1 Lancers hitting missile facilities with surgical precision. And the really crucial part? Officials said a lot of these strikes met with little, if any, effective air defense from Iran. But while all this was happening in the skies, something truly historic was going down at sea. This wasn't just another strike. It was a moment we literally haven't seen in warfare for generations. I mean, just let that sink in for a moment. Not since the Second World War has a U.S. Navy submarine actually engaged and sunk an enemy warship in combat. And this was the moment. We're talking about the Iranian warship, the Soleimani. It was out in the Indian Ocean, probably thinking it was safe. And boom, a single torpedo was all it took to send that ship straight to the bottom. The weapon they used? The Mark 48 torpedo. You know, its nickname really says it all. Quiet, deaf. It's a heavyweight torpedo designed to do exactly this: take out a big ship with one incredibly precise and devastating hit. Okay, but this fight was far from one-sided. Iran hit back, and they hit back hard, unleashing a massive barrage that pushed regional defenses to their absolute breaking point. And their strategy hinged on a very modern kind of attack. You know, it's pretty wild to see how drone warfare has evolved. It started with ISR, basically just using drones as eyes in the sky in places like Afghanistan and Iraq. Then we saw them become kinetic, weaponized for targeted strikes like in Ukraine. And now, we're in a whole new ballgame: mass swarms. The idea isn't to be precise, it's to launch so many at once that you just completely overwhelm and saturate the enemy's defenses. And when we say mass swarm, we mean it. The Iranian regime fired over 2,000 drones and more than 500 ballistic missiles. And make no mistake, the goal here, according to the source, was the indiscriminate targeting of civilians across the entire region. But what's really, really telling is where that barrage was aimed. This defensive burden was not shared equally. The UAE had to deal with 863 incoming missiles. Compare that to Israel, which faced 113. It just goes to show the incredible pressure put squarely on the UAE's defense systems. So, with all this chaos, how do you even begin to measure success? I mean, beyond just counting missiles and planes. Well, the debrief points to a really interesting strategic idea, and some signs you can see with your own eyes. It all comes down to this concept called the tipping point. It's that moment in a conflict when you've degraded the enemy's ability to attack so much that you can finally start shifting your focus away from just defending yourself. And nothing illustrates this better than this quote from Vice Admiral Robert Harwood. He's literally playing golf in Abu Dhabi, a city that's been under heavy fire, and he sees commercial planes taking off. That's it right there. When everyday life, when business starts getting back to normal, that's how you know you've hit that tipping point. That's success. And that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? When the enemy's ability to strike is crippled, and you've just maybe reached that tipping point, what's next? What becomes the new focus? That's the great unknown right now.